And the last year, in the last 1 year, we've been trying to gather learnings from everything, from all our implementation activities. And so for our trade mission events, and we are combining all trade missions from the Ghana Veg period, which was the program preceding HortiFresh, which was also in collaboration with NABC. And we want to learn how the missions have gone, what ideas there are to share from you, the actual practitioners. And then also for us, as we close out, what legacy can we leave with the donor for planning and also for future missions? And so our theme for today is incentivizing increased partnerships between Dutch and Ghanaian businesses. So another warm welcome to you all today. And we sent an agenda, and so we'll quickly go through the agenda. And we'll ask everybody to briefly introduce themselves, just 5 seconds. You tell us your name. Not everybody has their full name indicated, and then which company you're representing, and then which year you joined our missions. And then we'll give a short presentation on our missions over the years, and then we'll allow time for questions and answers, comments, etc. After that, we would invite you all to share experiences. We'll start with the Ghanaian exporters or the Ghanaian businesses to share their experiences, and then we'll also ask our Dutch partners to also share experiences. And then we'll have a short session with Anitra, the NABC side, on how they have prepared companies for trade mission, and then we take it from there. So the only house rules are no comment is not needed. So whatever comments or recommendations you have, please feel free to let us know. We would appreciate you raising your hand when you want to talk, and then we can give you the floor. Otherwise, with the numbers, it could be a bit haphazard. So thank you again, and we will go straight to the introductions. I want to start with the NABC team, if they can introduce themselves. Anitra.
Yes, thank you, Sheila. Hello, my name is Anitra van der Kraan, and I work for the Netherlands African Business Council, NABC. I'm head of programs within NABC, and I've been working for HortiFresh for the last 3-4 years, and before that also partly Ghana Veg. So I'm very interested to hear what is your input and feedback with regards to the trade missions from both the Dutch side and the Ghanaian side, and maybe also Ivorian side. So I'm looking forward to this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Anitra. Rosina, can you stop the screen share for now so we see everybody? Thank you. Anitra's team, please go ahead.
Yes, hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Laurens Kuipers. I also work for NABC. I coordinate the Africa Insights desk. I've been involved with HortiFresh since about a year now. So mostly with the two virtual missions and the latest physical mission. Yeah, thank you, Sheila, also for organizing this session. I look forward to hear what also the companies have to bring in.
Thank you. Helen.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jessie. I'm also with the Netherlands Africa Business Council with the Agribusiness department also supporting Anitra and Lawrence on the project. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the sake of time, I'll introduce my team. I have myself here. There's Ebenezer, there's Rosina, there's Justice, there's Jemima, there's Ellen, all with HortiFresh. Thank you. So I want to ask you all to also introduce yourselves. We'll start with, and I'm going by my screen, we'll start with Kojo Adum. Briefly, 5 seconds.
Kojo Adum from Ele Blue into pepper aggregation and production, hoping to export this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Rosita.
Yes, hello. My name is Rosita Chang. I'm the supply chain director for Berico Food Company. We import products worldwide, and we have been in the online virtual missions probably 3 years ago before the lockdown. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Kun.
Hello, good morning. I joined a bit later, but I have a feeling I don't missed so much yet. You're still at the introduction. Sorry for being late, but my name is Koen Nieste. I'm from Bakker Brothers, which is a seed company in Holland, and we supply a lot of seeds to Africa.
Thank you. Emmanuel Dako. You're on mute, please.
I'm Emmanuel Dako, and I'm with Fruvet Farms and manager for the called GP Farms.
Thank you.
So I've been with HortiFresh for a year now. I've been officially a year now, but I've been attending HortiFresh programs and other stuff. But for a year now, I've been involved with issues with HortiFresh and as an exporter.
Thank you. Mr. Kate. All right, we'll go to Ben.
Thank you. My name is Benjamin Nagbe. Managing Director, Chain Vegetables for Export. I've been in this business for past 15 years now, and I partnership with HortiFresh in 2016, since from Ghana Veg to HortiFresh. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Robert Donko, please. Sam Zaka.
Yes, hi, good morning. My name is Sam Zaka. I'm Managing Director of Agrigenics, an agri firm based in Ghana. We've been with HortiFresh for almost a year now.
Thank you. Betty's A52.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Betty. I'm with Green Power Solution, Green Power Limited, based in Kumasi. We are into, we can help the farmers to export in the coming years. We joined the HortiFresh program last year, I think.
Thank you. Nana Newman.
Hello, so I'm Nana Newman from Tropical Growers, and we're into fruits and hydroponics. So basically, we've been with HortiFresh for about a year now.
Thank you. Sandra.
Hello, good morning. I'm Sandra with Handy Farms. We're mango growers and value-added production. We've been with HortiFresh a number of years. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that will be it. If I missed out on you, just go ahead and introduce yourself quickly, then we start. All right, so we'll go through a short presentation about HortiFresh. Rosina, please go ahead. All right, thank you. So HortiFresh is the successor of Ghana Veg. Ghana Veg was mainly the commercial vegetable sector development in Ghana. And this started from 2013 through to 2017, funded by the Netherlands Embassy in Ghana. And just when it was ending, we were asked to do same and follow the same model in one other country, and then also expand our scope, moving not only in vegetables, but then also into fruits. And that's how come HortiFresh came into being. Now, when we came on the scene, we had a number of observations, and I don't know if that still pertains, but then we realized that the demand is huge, and if you like, it's exponentially increasing. And so regardless of all the challenges that the sector is plagued with, there's still a huge demand, both domestically and internationally. And we also realized that, especially in West Africa, the domestic market was very informal, whilst the export market was formal, probably based on the fact that the export market had specific standards that were being demanded of from exports. Now, with that being said, we still have bottlenecks that saddle the sector, and so we call them systemic issues. Difficult to get them off, because the more you work at it, the more you contribute to alleviating that, the more the problem persists, maybe because the sector keeps expanding. So financing is still overarching the major bottleneck for the sector. It will be interesting to hear from the EU and Dutch partners if financing is also a challenge for them, but it still is for the West African region. Pests and diseases have become regional and geographic, and so it requires a coordinated effort in combating them, and that makes it also a systemic issue. We also realize that certification. Can I ask everyone to kindly mute, please, so that we don't have too much feedback? Thank you. We also realize that regulation and certification is slightly lacking, even though the regulatory framework is there. Its implementation is a challenge. Also, sector coordination, you couldn't find any body within the Ministry of either Agriculture or Trade, that was really coordinating everything in the horticulture sector. And then also realize that information and R&D knowledge sharing was missing, and we've done quite a bit to contribute to all these. Next slide, please. All right, so our goal has been huge, and the objectives are underscored in our goal. Competitiveness is big for us. Innovation is something we strive to look at. Inclusion also has become big on the agenda of The Hague. And then conducive business climate, where we do that through support to policy and then high-level dialogue with governments in the countries we work in. Of course, sustainability is also key, looking at the fact that we are phasing out now. How sustainable have our interventions been? And I think the background, I gave it earlier, the Aid to Trade agenda of the multi-annual strategic plan of the embassy that started from 2012, where the Dutch government prioritized the horticulture sector and therefore started contributing to all the allied countries that had anything to do with them in terms of horticulture. So Ghana was one of their strategic countries. And as I explained, it started in 2013, and here we are. We're supposed to end last year, but because of COVID and other ensuing challenges, we had to extend until now. And so we actually have just about a month to wrap up. The program is ending, hence this learning event, to try and pick your brain and also get some understanding into what your experiences have been working with us, and then also most especially the fact that the program tried to link you to local international businesses to trade, and what the outcome has been. Why hasn't it worked? Why had, for those of you who made attempts and it seemed it was working, what has been the challenge? All right, and so we've engaged the sector through several instruments. We've highlighted trade promotion here, and that's where this session belongs. Next slide. All right, and so here we talk about the objective, which is mainly to facilitate trade and partnerships. And this is also part of the Aid to Trade agenda, as mentioned earlier. Now, a little bit about the process and preparation for most of our missions from our side. Anitra would throw more light into how she does it, or the team at NABC does it. And so here there's a call for expression of interest with the criteria from the Netherlands and EU countries. So they give us specifications of what they need, whom they want to partner with, the size, portfolio size of the companies they want to engage, etc. And most importantly, their market demand. And so this is put out there for the local companies to express their interest by demonstrating they have what it takes to join based on these criteria. And so we go through a process of due diligence to select who is best fit for which company before the information is passed on to NABC. And when that is done, a selection is made and these companies are prepped. They are supported to come up with their USPs, which is your selling point, your company profile, which most of the time, most of our companies do not have. I'm talking about the local companies. So this process, I think, has been a big learning curve for most of the local companies, in that you don't only trade, but then you make sure that all these documentations are available for people who want to have a gist. So if you're giving 5 minutes to tell, 5 companies what you have and what you do, all that should come in your elevator pitch. And then the company profile goes more into detail on your setup. So the HortiFresh team become coaches that facilitate these together with the help of NABC. Next slide. I see a few hands up. If we can finish and then take questions, maybe that will be easier. So please note all your questions down. So this is a table that has a collection of some of the Dutch companies. Not all of them are Dutch. Some are also in the EU and even in South Africa and Canada as well, that have ever taken part in our missions. We have AfriFruta that joined this year, even though they have joined earlier as well. And so it's been quite a journey working with all these companies. It will be interesting to know which of them has yet found a partner or made deals with local companies. Next slide, please. And then we also have some Ghanaian companies as well. Because this is a Ghana English session, we haven't included too much of details from Cote d'Ivoire, but you can see some of the companies from there as well. Next slide. So some pictures from COVID. During COVID, that's when we started our virtual missions, and we were careful to take pictures of some of our sessions. Now to some outcomes. So from these missions, a few B2Bs have started, but haven't been sustained. So that's the sad part. A lot of work, a lot of prep, a lot of energy goes into these things. And so we are not too excited about the outcomes yet. We know that East West and Meridian, started working together. They are still trading. Bijo Seeds also started working with Meridian, started field trials, etc., way back in 2015, 2016, but that also wasn't sustained. Berico with Groital and Vintage also started working together. We will... Can you please mute, Salom? Can you please mute, please? Thank you. Yes, so we have Berico on the line, so hopefully we will get them to give some feedback when we get to the feedback session. Now to some challenges. I'm sure you have more, more challenges to share, but then from our side, we think that expectations have not been met. Both sides had expectations with all hope that trade and business was going to be kick-started, but for some reason that hasn't been met. I mean, we will ask you to tell us more. Okay, we hear stories about quality standards, not what it is as indicated by the local companies. We want to hear from the local companies. Also, we also encountered some capacity challenges. When a partner says they need 1 ton a week, really it's 1 ton a week. It's nothing less. And so also for the local companies, this is something that it's a learning curve for us, that it should be 1 ton a week and not hopes of 1 ton a week, because that's where we realized that some of the local companies were hoping they can meet up, that took that as a challenge and not as a deliverable that they had everything in place to satisfy. All right, and also we realized that communication also is a problem. We do the facilitation, we do the brokerage, we do the linkage, but then when we are done, we move on to other things, and we expect that that link is there. Even if business doesn't really start, there should be an open communication line, but then we realize that that also ceases. Some of the time, people or point persons that you dealt with may have moved on, change jobs, etc. That also is something that we have encountered. But then NABC is always available for both sides. If you have missed out on a contact and you want to continue taking it up from where we left off, just contact them. If they have to reach out to us, or if they have the details, they are more than willing to share. So for today, as we round up this session, what's the purpose of this learning event? And I think I mentioned that in the intro, that it's to really learn from both sides what experiences you had, and then also to see if there are any practical steps for sustainable partnerships. We mentioned sustainability as one of our top objectives. So in stepping away as HortiFresh, what next? How can you sustain this linkage that has been set up? And also would want to discuss expectations and then dialogue on what can improve and what we can do better. And so I would end here, and we'll give ourselves 10 minutes for questions and clarifications, please. Thank you. So if you have a question, we'll kindly ask that you use the raise hand button. If you don't know the raise hand button, just show your face and then raise your hand. We will pick up and then give you the floor. Please don't speak if you don't have the floor. Thank you. It could be from either side, the international partners or the local partners. You can also type in your question if you are in a place where you can't speak.
It's Koen. Can I ask something?
Yeah, sure.
I was looking for the raise hand button, but couldn't find it on Zoom. I use Teams more often, so okay. But now you mentioned in your slide, and thanks for that, the issue about financing. And do you mean then financing in a way looking for funds, or do you mean the limitation that there currently is for many African countries in available forex? Or either way?
Yeah, mainly looking for funds.
Okay.
Looking for funds, because we've had a lot of instances where companies have the capacity in terms of infrastructure, but then liquidity to push things, liquidity to maybe increase their purchases to process is unavailable. And to get funding or commercial loans for that sometimes is a challenge.
Okay, thanks for that, and maybe I'll get back to that later.
Thanks. Anybody else struggling with the lower hand? Oh, okay, we have
Kojo has raised his hand.
I wanted to ask, now after the end of the HortiFresh program, for some of us that joined, I would say much into this program like this year or ending of last year, are we to assume that NABC should be the body we contract for possible linkages with companies abroad, or there will be some provisions made? That's what I wanted to ask.
Thank you. Anitra, I want you to answer that, please.
Yes, thank you very much for the question. Well, of course, because the program is ending, our active role in that sense, in terms of trade promotion, is also ending. But if you have a specific question or quite a specific request or demand, of course we can take it into considerations and see what we can do. Because we are a network organization and we have a lot of companies that are our members, and we also we provide services to those members, and we connect them to potential suppliers or potential off-takers. So if in that case you are a potential supplier to one of our members or potential off-taker, of course we're also serving our members by supporting you. So in that sense, I think it should not be a problem. So if there's anything, just contact me or Laurens or Helen. Helen is based in Ghana and Laurens and I are based in the Netherlands. And then we can see how we can offer support.
Thank you, Anitra. And also to add to that, we have a Ghana Netherlands Business Chamber here, GMBCC, based in Accra. And I think they would also be willing to support. Anitra, is that correct?
Yes, definitely. And Helen Gyasi, our local colleague, she's also based in the GMBC office, so that linkage is easily made.
All right. So Helen, can we ask you to leave your contact detail, your email address in the chat so that people can have access to it, if that's okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. Do we have another hand? Clarifying questions, comments? Reynolds, you want to ask a question?
Hi, Sheila. Just a small contribution. Yeah. No, I think it's an excellent program. From our point of view, it's a program that is very laudable, and we believe that we as a company has gained quite a bit of experience in terms of opportunities and potential of what buyers in Holland and in other places are looking for. I think it's also important lesson for us to up our game in terms of quality control, and then the buyer, trying to meet the buyer's expectations in terms of quantity and volumes. So that has opened up a small opportunity for us to come back inside, the team and look at expanding that opportunity. We've been looking at some few products that we've been working on, looking at turmeric, ginger, and chili pepper. So we hope that, unfortunately, as far as this program is ending, we would continue working with some of the buyers we've been connected to, and hopefully, expand on the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Good to hear. And please feel free to leave your details in the chat box, anybody, if you want to do that. All right, we'll take one last, and then we move on to the next session, please. All right, I guess we move on to the next session, which is experience sharing between the two sides, the local companies and the Netherlands and/or EU companies. We had one example of deals that were started that weren't sustained. We mentioned Berico and Groital and Vintage. So maybe we want to start with them. Rosita, any reactions to those, please?
It's funny that you picked me first. Yes, we did conclude one shipment. However, we didn't continue to make next shipments due to several reasons. The capacity of the partners is not big enough to be able to cope with our demand, and the quality was also not workable. Due to these two criteria, we have to source elsewhere, and I believe the supplier partners at this moment is also not producing that particular product, also due to the production challenge and capacity limited. So yeah, that's a pity. I think there's still a potential if the right partners come across our path, we'll definitely will pick it up again.
All right, thank you. Any other international companies that share the same or had similar experiences? Otherwise, we want to hear from Roytal. Are you on?
Hello, Sheila.
Yes, George. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So the points have already been mentioned, and the biggest issue has been with capacity, and followed by issues of quality. As small businesses that are beginning and trying to survive, there are some key investments that are missing in some of our establishments, including even having a really qualified and experienced in-house quality person to check and to monitor all outputs. So these are strategic things that a lot of small businesses haven't invested in, and that have serious impact. For instance, Rosita mentioned earlier, capacity has been a problem. There are still ongoing discussions for us to solve the problem, but capacity has been the biggest challenge. And yeah, that is where it is. And then also, she also hinted that the customer or the supplier is trying to change every activities, even including products that they are producing. So these are steps that we have made to prevent the issues that happened with the first export to repeat again. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those candid responses, Roytal. So, Rosita, I hear quality issues, but before a shipment comes in, the quality check is done. So, where, or also to Roytal, where did you go wrong? At what point? Because this was a very nice example that we were all happy about.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely some time ago. If I can recall correctly, I think the color of so we import dry pineapple, and the colors, if I can recall correctly, it seems to be okay. However, the machine packing in European client now work with the product that's too sticky. So the product comes in just like a brick, and literally cannot be workable in the machine pack line. So you really need to have staff workers to take them apart. Even if people work taking them apart, the product was so sticky, it was really impossible to manually sort them out. So that's actually the main issue. I think it's probably because of when after drying, either the product's not properly cooled down, or the pressure of the packaging press the product together because of sugar level is really high on the pineapple from Ghana. So those are the few issues on quality side.
All right, thank you. We see a hand, Robert.
Something, Sheila?
Okay, so before Robert comes in, Josh, you have a reaction.
Yeah, so I mean, it's Rosita has been very spot on this. So the challenges weren't really like the hardcore quality stuff like contaminations and stuff like that, but the workability of the product, which mostly can be not blamed, but it's an attribute of the raw materials we have in Ghana here. They are really sweet, very high sugar level, so they tend to get stuck together. And also the mistake we made being first-time exporters was with the choice of packaging. So going for affordable packaging that did not have enough resistance to be able to contain the weight above. So these are things that you would never know until you have exported yourself or tried it yourself. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much, Josh. Robert Donko, your hand is up. All right, I guess it was an error. anymore. This is a learning event, so we really need to hear from you.
Yes, Sheila, just from my end, not the specific input, but I know that Koen has already said something from the seed company perspective, and Michel is also here. Michel is now working for Quadrat Global, but he used to work for Enzazade. So I would like to ask both Koen and Michel to give some input on whether the trade mission that you have joined, I think Michel even joined twice, Koen I think only once, but when you joined, probably the objective was to find a local partner and of course local clients, but first a local distributor to set up the network structure for the supply of improved inputs, hybrid seeds or OPV seeds. So did you succeed in that mission when joining the trade mission? Did you find the right partner or not? And if you did, for example, but after the mission, in the end, you did not start cooperating, what was the reason for that? Or are you still cooperating with someone that you met during the mission or because of the mission? I'm very curious to hear about that, because besides sourcing mission with, for example, Rosita and with a lot of buyers, we also did a lot of missions with Dutch companies supplying innovative products for the horticultural sector, like improved varieties, organic fertilizer, solutions like that.
Can you hear me, Anitra and Sheila?
Yes, we
can.
Okay, because I'm here standing, waiting at the luggage belt in Nairobi for my suitcase to come. But Anitra asked me indeed to join this session to review on the trade missions that I have joined. Indeed, there were two, and I'm actually looking back very positive at those two trade missions. Not so much because I succeeded in what I wanted. To be fair, I did not find the ideal distributor that I was looking for. But that is not to blame to the organizers of the mission or the program of the mission. I think both programs, they were set up very professionally and with components both covering the Dutch embassy, more for the overall picture, as well as a tailor-made program with matchmaking sessions, with tailor-made visits, even to the north of the country. So I believe that this is also what the sector wants and what they need. This is a learning session for you. There is actually not many points that I could say like, hey, you would have to change this or that in order to make it more effective or to make it better for the participants.
Thank you,
Michel.
Thank you. I think Koen also wants to speak.
Yeah, I raised my hand. I was able to find that button.
So you are learning, Koen. This is
yes, it's a learning curve. It's a learning session. So, no, and Michel is waiting for his suitcase, and I'm sure you will have it sooner in Nairobi than that you have these days in Amsterdam.
I already have it.
You see? No, I have a few comments to make in addition to Michel. And I also joined the mission to Ghana earlier, and I joined other missions with NABC. Just general comment for Dutch companies, or for it goes for each seed company. Despite the country that they are coming from, a good representation is very important. So for us, good distribution is key, and it's proven hard to find the right partner. Luckily enough, we are working in Ghana with a partner already, but based on we sell in several brands, so we needed a good representation for the second brand. We didn't succeed in the purpose yet, good distribution is hard to find, and for various reasons. And that's something that we really need to target for, or that you as an organization need to target for. And my general comment is with, for example, the B2Bs, you speak with a lot of people, but they don't always have the capacity that we as a bigger company are looking for. And if you find a cooperation with a small company, it can be nice to start, but the volumes and turnover for us in general is too small. And if you need to aim for organic growth, and you look at the issues that Ms. Sheila mentioned on funding, if that is missing, then the growth will be not fast enough to make it a viable cooperation. So we are looking for bigger partners, partners that are already involved in seed agro or agrochemical business. And it's also a fact that that the bigger ones are often already taken by some corporations that are already ongoing. So to find a good new partner is really a challenge, despite the efforts that you put in as organizations. So that's what I wanted to share, in addition to what Michael said, or Michel said.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Koen. Yeah, and there's a question from Fruit Veg Farms. You want to know what the next steps with Kagan Spices are after the successful matchmaking last year. Do we have Kagan Spices on here?
Yeah, unfortunately, Willem from Kagan Spices is on holiday, so he couldn't be here. Okay. But yeah, NABC is of course still in touch with him, and as I messaged to Robert, we'll be sure to reconnect them. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks, Lawrence. All right. So back to capacity issues. The capacity being requested for is always out there. So we want to hear from the local companies. The international companies always indicate what capacity they are looking for. So what makes us, well, I mean, how do we wrap our minds around that?
Hi.
Yes.
Mike, Michel. Yes. Yeah, that's my name, correct.
I think he has found his driver.
Oh, okay. He's still getting his bag. All right, we mute him there.
Let's see if we can you mute him, Sheila?
I have muted him. Yeah. Thank you. So the local companies, let's hear from you, please. We've heard from Royal. Strigan Farms, are you here?
Yes, madam.
Yes, please. Can we hear from you because you've been part of missions?
Yes, thank you very much. And it was a pleasure to meet the several missions from Ghana to Holland and Holland to Ghana. Also, I want to take this opportunity to actually, more than this, I wanted to thank the Kingdom of Netherlands about good support. Most of behalf of the vegetable sector, most of our benefit, we have benefited from this trade mission, also from HortiFresh, formerly Ghana Veg. We formerly call Ghana Veg, and most of our members as a vegetable sector in Ghana, from small to big, you name it, from A to Z, from this opportunity given to us as a HortiFresh and Ghana Veg, also from the several missions and from a lot of funding body, we have benefited this HortiFresh, whole HortiFresh team, and also it is no word to say it, because if you feel it, some of our exporters have been, we are none of on the sector, but now today we can say that proudly, because of HortiFresh, some of us are on number 1 and number 2 and number 3 in the industry. Then can imagine that how we benefited from this trade mission from HortiFresh, from Kingdom of Netherlands. Thank you very much to everyone, and thank you, big thank to Madam Sheila, is our bigger sister. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul, but this was not a vote of thanks. It was to discuss issues. So let's hear from you on experiences.
I take this opportunity to thanks, because I didn't think so I will get another opportunity to thank. That's the reason that I thank on whole behalf of every sector. Yes. You come back again. What your question again, please?
Yeah, so your experience with the trade missions, were there any deals that
maybe yes, maybe not from the last mission, but there have been previous mission from even we had I went on mission on NIBC mission before as before even HortiFresh, that in 2013, and we have been benefited. Yes, is not say I have even 2 customers from trade mission on Holland trade mission. I had 2 wonderful customers. Still I'm shipping to.
Wonderful, thank you. Shall we hear from the other local companies? Handy Farms, any experiences to share? Okay, so maybe you're trying to put your thoughts together. So shall we ask Anitra to go through her slides quickly, and then we come back to a short discussion before we wrap up.
Yes, let me see if I can share my screen. Can you make me a host so I can share the screen, Sheila?
Yeah. You're a host now.
Okay, there we go. And then I want to put it there. Yeah. Yeah, I prepared 2 slides, and also some of the things have already been mentioned. But basically, yeah, what we do to prepare for a trade mission and also for B2B meetings or company visits. I took this information, like the first slide, mainly from the sourcing missions that we did. And this is really, yeah, towards the Ghanaian or Ivorian producer in the case of fruits, processed fruits, or some of the vegetables like chilies. So these are some of the requirements that a lot of buyers are requesting. And if you have a meeting with a buyer, it's important to have this available or prepared. So for example, product fact sheet is some of the things that came back a lot of times. 1-pager overview with all product technical data, like the name, the variety or the Latin name, the capacity for production, export, and export volumes. So it's clearly, you can clearly see as a buyer how much the exporter can supply on an annual basis, or how many containers, for example, or tons. Specifications of the product, the seasonality, characteristics, for example, the bricks, the benefits or the applications of the product, and also some good clear photos of the products. Then in addition, the buyer will always ask during or also after the meeting to send in the certifications. So this can be food safety certifications like Global Gap for the fresh market, and for processed, often HACCP is required, which is a minimum standard for a lot of buyers in the European Union. And other documents may also be required, such as the certificate of origin, if you have lab results of products that you recently harvested or processed, phytosanitary certificate, and the certificate of inspection. There can be other documents as well, but these are some examples. Then, also something that came back to us in the sourcing mission is that especially those exporters that supply organically certified products, so a processed product or a fresh product like a fresh mango, or for example a dried mango with an EcoCert or other certifying body certification, that niche market is really for the West African exporters. It's still a good market to be in. Basically, the demand for organic products is high in the Netherlands and also in Germany and in other countries in Europe, and it's also increasing. And it's also a way to compete with supply from Latin America, South America, for example. And the same is for the socially certified products with the Rainforest Alliance certificate or Fair Trade certification. For example, in Germany, this is often also a minimum requirement. So these are things to increase your chance, because the exporters with the organic certifications, those were the most in demand, because if you have an organic certification, it also proves that you have your transparency and your part of the value chain in order, because you have to have a good structure to get the certification. So it is a good benchmark basically for the buyer as well. And when you have a meeting with a buyer, ensure timely follow-up. And that is not only when you meet with buyers, but also when you meet with the company, like, for example, Koen, Bakker Brothers, or Enzazade, if you are to be a potential distributor for them. If you have a really interesting meeting with a lot of energy and positivity, a follow-up by way of email within a week. Of course, this is also required from the Dutch side. So it's not only, we don't only ask from the Ghanaian or the Ivorian company to follow up with us, but of course, if we had a positive feeling, we will also send an email as soon as possible to send the information that was discussed that would be shared, and to maybe set up a second meeting or discuss a sample sending or anything like that. But please make sure to follow up. We often follow up by email, or I think email is the most convenient, and sometimes also phone call if email is not answered. We don't often follow up by WhatsApp straight away. Maybe when you have discussed more often, you can use WhatsApp, but here WhatsApp is very informal, and we are maybe sometimes a bit more formal here. But if you were brought in contact via WhatsApp, what also happens sometimes, then of course you can continue on WhatsApp. Then I have one more slide. When you are meeting, for example, potential suppliers like companies that supply hybrid seeds or irrigation technology or anything like that, but also this is also especially important for the Dutch side. What we also as a NEBC try to always do as much as possible is to prepare both sides on who will I have the meeting with. We will share a short profile of the companies on both sides. Prepare what you are offering, think about what is he or she offering, prepare some key questions, and think of questions that he or she might ask you. Prepare a presentation, or have this ready. It doesn't have to be long, but just a short one, including your USP, about some really good information about your company, location, why should the buyer or the supplier pick you. clear and simple, not too long, with good photos. And also, yeah, it's really important to have a website. And maybe other online marketing material. Good Facebook page can also be efficient, of course. Link it to social media. And if you are a bit giving a very good insight into your company, although when there's an actual company visit, of course, the Dutch partner will also see it. Yeah, those are some main things, things that I could think of based on the experience that we've had. Yeah, I also want to say that if you have any questions for us, or in terms of follow-up on some of the missions or contacts made, please reach out to us. The project is phasing out, but like I said, we are a member-based organization, so we're still in active contact with all of our members, and that linkages can still be made, so that's absolutely not a problem. So yeah, if there's any questions now, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Anitra.
You're welcome.
All right, the floor is open for questions as well. Dan, your hand is raised. Dan Kate.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Daniel Kate, Vintage Farms. I'm sorry for joining a bit late. Where I am presently, there's a lot of thunderstorms, so my data is on and off. Anyway, straight to the point. There was a question that we, the manufacturers, since we are not able to meet the demand of what our customers are looking for, what are we going to do about it? Or better still, what are both parties going to do about it? One of the things Vintage Farms have put in our vision is to see if we can have a joint collaboration with a buyer, whereby a detailed agreement could be put in place. We have quite our factory, the size of the factory is not that bad, but then we need a bit of investment able to produce to that capacity. So what we are looking for, one of the things we are looking for now is if we could get a potential partner, of course, guided by HortiFresh and NSBC, for us to have a solid agreement for expansion. Because in terms of other things that would require, I would say we've got about 85% of it. So all we need is expansion. And in terms of...
So Dan, if I get you correctly, you want an investment partner, is that correct?
Yes. So this is my humble suggestion. If any buyer can let us look at the agreement very well.
So Dan, you want an investment partner, correct? A partner to invest.
We take it from there.
Invest in your business, is that correct?
Let me chip in a bit on this specific subject.
Yeah.
I think this has been a challenge for quite a bit of time in our agriculture sector, is getting quality control and getting the numbers in terms of the quantity serve the buyers. Now, going back to Daniel's point, if there's initial contact with any specific Dutch buyer or any other buyer, and the buyers have a certain interest in the product and they realize that there is a good potential in a specific product, whether it's pineapple, whether it's veg or anything else, it will be important, because business is always two ways. It's not a one-way street. So it's important that for a collaboration between the two, the buyer and the seller. I have a product the buyer is interested in. I have a small challenge, possibly locally. I'm not able to grow my capacity. The buyer wants the product. He likes the product. He likes the price point. You know, that kind of collaboration would really transform our sector, you know, quite a bit. And we need to keep that open-mindedness on this as an opportunity to explore, and not just, you know, I'm selling, you're buying, you know, and it stops there. So if we can collaborate on that front, I think you would see a lot of companies within, you know, the program getting involved and, you know, expanding, and the number starts going up and so on and so forth. It's also all a learning curve.
All right, Sam, thank you very much. And that probably will be the next question to the EU companies on the possibility for investment. But then Ben has his hands up, so let's hear from Ben first.
Okay, thank you, Madam. Please, my few questions to Madam Anita about the organic certification. Please, which body is she looking at to certify the produce as organic produce in their market?
Yes, that depends a bit. For example, in a lot of French-speaking countries, EcoCert is doing this. But I can imagine that there's also other certifying bodies doing this in Ghana. I have to then dive into my email, because I once shared the contact of a certification body in Ghana with the HortiFresh team. And they can actually do the audits for various certifications like the HACCP, but also for organic certification. So I would have to have a look at that, but there's also a body in Ghana doing the audits needed. So I can, I can get back to you on in that. If you put your email address in the chat, I will follow up on this.
Okay, madam. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Ben. All right, so we were talking about investments. How easy it is, or how feasible is it for the international companies to take the local companies up and invest so that they become trade partners? Possible, not possible? Koen?
Can you please repeat the question?
Yes, Dan was talking about getting an investment partner, and Sam also added to it. So I'm asking for the international companies, is it possible to take a partner in these countries and invest in them for them to become trade partners? I'll come back to or let me use the example I started with, which was Berico and Groital. Groital had challenges with, say, getting a certified quality control professional to really check and make sure things were done rightly before shipping. So is this possible for instance, for Berico to help them find one or support them financially with one that can help so that their produce can meet the standards and then they trade?
Yeah, understand.
Yeah.
Now we are not involved in fresh produce. We are a seed supplier, but your question remains the same. Regarding the funding and supporting our distributor, we can do that, but it's a difficult one, because especially in the start you don't know each other that well, and it's something later on that you can look into. So to start up the cooperation, we usually require payment in advance. And if you speak about a serious order, that's already quite a stretch. And if you want to start a cooperation, mutual cooperation, then you can look for the funds, and there are opportunities to fund the business there. But it's not for us personally or as a seed company. It's not necessarily our idea to start with the mutual cooperation in a way that we want to set up our business in Ghana, for example, to sell our own seeds. To do that with a partner, we sell in a distributors model. So our idea of cooperation is that we really can support our distributor also with some up, and we can discuss, for example, the payment terms and find alternatives in there. But to really fund the company locally, that's not our direct aim, and it's not our strategy in the model that we are working these days. But yeah, that's what I want to share, considering the fact that we are a seed business, and our main purpose is selling the seeds, to put it very blunt. But we can support our distributor with payment terms and vice versa, or etc. But that's what I can share. And if you take the next step in a cooperation and the business is growing, well, then also with some support of the Dutch government or the Dutch bank, then there are opportunities to fund that. But that's often in the next phase, and the starting phase is often the hardest.
All right, thank you.
I hope this helped.
Yeah, that's clear. Thanks, Koen. Very much appreciated. Any other thoughts from the international companies, and then we quickly move into rounding up?
Yeah, this is Rosita from Berico. Because you mentioned my company name, so I think it's good for me to address a few points. Yeah. I'm very much agree with Koen. Berico, of course, is also a trading company, but we really need to work very closely with the partners in the producing country. Of course, there is a possibility, and also there's a lot of risk as well. So Koen had pointed out very clearly, and I agree completely with him, is that the first step is to just simply do the trading, do buy and import and export. So after a few years, when you get to know each other and the opportunity arises and the funding is available, there is a possibility, but not upfront in the beginning. So we need to learn to each other and how the things works, and the country and culture, language difference, and so on.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. These are candid submissions. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Any others? Daniel, you have your hand up, but let's hear from the international companies first before we come back to you. Any others on investments? So trading fairs, getting to know each other. If things go well and there's funding, why not? I think that's basically what I'm hearing. So it's not a no, but then it depends on how the relationship goes. Yeah. Okay, I don't see any hand. Dan, what do you want to add to?
Yes, madam, thank you. Rosita just spoke, and we are trying to work out an agreement with her whereby once we are able to produce a container and we get the goods to the harbor, she's prepared to pay us at least 50%. I think it's not a bad from the beginning at all. It's a good thing. It tells you you can start from somewhere. If we can get more of that, we cannot ask for 100% at the moment. So we'll try and work with 50% once the shipment is done, because you need to load a minimum of about 9 to 10 tons into a container. And being a small scale or medium company is not that easy. But like the previous speaker spoke, and like Rosita said, we will do our best possible to see how we can struggle and get there. At least with this 50% payment and then the balance later on, I think we will start from there. So I want to say, I'll encourage my other colleagues, maybe if we can get that type of deal to start with. And then once the confidence is built and everything is on, probably they will help us raise the funds. So I want to thank them. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Lucky you, eh?
We all get there one day. Thank you.
And yeah, Rosita, thanks for that. All right, so we are running out of time. I think we've heard a lot. We've heard about capacity, quality issues, production issues, experienced staffing. Royal talked about packaging, being a first-time exporter. They've learned a lot about choosing the right packaging. Affordable packaging always is not ideal. The seed companies talk about good representation as well. We're hearing about investments, etc. And we've received a clear response. There should be trade, there should be trust, there should be a period of engaging. Then, if we are comfortable with each other and there's funding, why not? There could be investments. But then to start with investment right away, that is quite risky. So I think that's the fair argument. Anitra, I don't know what you think, but I want us to just do a quick round and get everybody's last words, and then we close it off. Will that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. So can we hear from all the local companies first? Just raise your hand and then you can speak. If you don't have anything to say, I think you can just say, all right, so let me go by my screen then. And Dan, I think you are done talking, right, for today? You've said it, you said enough.
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. And then Daniel, you've also said enough. You can't hear. All right, I'll go to Kun. Your final words.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for organizing, you and NABC, with Anitra, of course. So it's useful and it's necessary to understand each other better and to make steps, because we all do want to progress and we want to get things done. This is helpful, and of course we look at the future, and sometimes it's even a bit in the long run. But we're making steps, and that's clear. So this is another one, and I hope my input was useful. But I want to thank everybody for their input and you for organizing. Thank you.
Thanks, Kun. Merci, Ohene-Jan. Your final words.
I think it's very good. We thank God and you guys, the organizing all this. It's very good idea that everything went good. So I think everything is fine. That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. So maybe point of correction, it's not a vote of thanks. We are still collecting ideas. So any ideas about sustainable trade partnerships? Yeah, we would appreciate that. Thank you. Mr. Dana, any ideas to share?
Yeah, I'm very grateful. It's very well. And just to apologize for joining late. And what I've learned, I'm very appreciative. It is a very nice educative program. We keep it up. More particular aspect is the packaging. The packaging aspect, I like it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Emmanuel Dapo, please.
Yeah, okay. It has been an eye-opener since joining HortiFresh. We have not been able to do much, but I think what we can do going forward, looking at the other gaps whereby businesses are looking at financing and other stuff, but the whole issue is about trust and also the risks involved. From other experience we got from other export that we did to Hungary and Germany, I think we should be able to, as farmers, look at other locally. If we cannot even produce more, we should use those kind of aggregation whereby we can get farmers, as currently we are doing. It normally helps a lot, whereby we will be able to do more on that, whereby we can just bring other farmers on board. Then if and also put down our records. One of the problems that I've realized, most of farmers or most businesses record keeping on other financial statements as well, because there are avenues that are there. We can even give other kind of incentive to even do more. But how do we take our finances? Do we do it through our banks? Even if we do it through our new system of Momo, we can even print it out as a statement that can back us for us to get the necessary funding locally or even other external. I think we should look at a win-win situation, and also whereby other partners are due to whatever I know, and I believe maybe going forward we are going to have other program, though we are ending this, other stuff will come. That kind of whereby those people who have the capacity to do this, but maybe because due to some financial constraint, if there can be avenue to have other teams at the Netherlands embassy to go on the ground to check whether what they are saying is a reality, then we can have a win-win situation on that, so that at the end of the day, everything will be for our both ends satisfaction and continuity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rosita.
Yeah, well, I thank you for the organization on the mission, trade mission, especially during the COVID time was very difficult. So you'd be able to link the two worlds together. I do want to express that to all parties involved, that doing trade across the border, especially to a different continent, require patience and long-term planning. So it's not really something that you can achieve in the short term and then quickly and pushing through. So it takes a lot of steps and control and check and verifications. So please bear with, please think that it's a long-term, it's not a short-term movement. And thirdly, I want to express that European regulations is changing constantly. So for the African producers, please keep in contact with the NABCD and constantly keep in touch with the changes in the regulations so that you will produce the product that will match to your final destinations. And I wish good luck for everybody, and then hope we'll see each other very soon.
Thank you, Rosita, and thanks for reminding us that the standards and requirements are just changing on a daily basis. So we also have to do our homework and keep ourselves abreast. Samzaka. All right, Nana Newman. Susan Boating. Josh, anything else to add?
I mean, I just want to, I know it's not a vote of thanks, but I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. It would have been very difficult for small businesses to even get to know the potential buyers out there, even have an opportunity to even talk with them. It would have been nearly impossible. And I mean, Rosita has been incredibly patient. Since she's here, I wanted to hear that from all of you. She has been incredibly patient and supportive, even though there are challenges. The last time we had a call, she was showing us what we could even do with our coconut. So there is that support that we're getting from her. And I just want to say thank you. I mean, maybe in future, when we are doing projects like these, we should start by finding out the capacities of the suppliers and see if we could merge them to do co-supplies. So maybe if 3 of us are doing dry fruit, you could bring us together. We can then be able to do bigger capacity whilst we wait to raise the necessary financing to individually grow. So we could look at that model and see how that could work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Josh. Joint ventures of the local companies. Why is it not happening? Why aren't you doing it locally?
Are you asking me or?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
It's a lot of things. The fact that small businesses see each other as competitors instead of partners is one. And it's a mindset that would have to change between a lot of business owners for these kind of collaborations to happen. And that's the first one. I think the other one is trust. People find it difficult to open their customers to other competitors, thinking that someone could go behind you and then steal your customer. But this is something that maybe they've had experience with. So I think the two things has been trust and then the mindset, thinking that everyone else is a competition instead of a partner. Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for sharing. All right. Betty.
Yeah, I think it's a good discussion so far. I'm a bit, let's just say, I was hoping that the answers that were given would sort of address mine, but somehow I was looking at a situation where, like I mentioned before, we are trying to help over 1,000 ginger farmers to aggregate and then also to help them with good agricultural practices and so on to be able to access good markets. And here we are talking about certification. Certification is quite a task. So if there isn't a potential buyer for that product, then it doesn't give any motivation for the small farmers to do, because our local market is open to uncertified products. So we don't know if we can have some sort of assurance from a company. We are not asking for investment right now, but like an assurance that, okay, if the farmers are able to produce so quality of ginger, we will be off takers and buy it. It might not be this year, but then in the years coming, if we have that sort of agreement, then whatever you are doing, we are more into training and helping them to improve upon what they are doing. Then it will be some sort of a push for them to also be able to access. We haven't gone into the exporting yet. We are hoping that we will get them there. So I don't know if anybody will address this issue.
Thank you, Betty. I would say something and then I'll let Anitra also come in. There's always market for certified produce. So that's number one. And so the producer or the exporter should find it interesting for they themselves to go ahead and get certification and demonstrate that they have certified produce. And that would put them on the level where international companies are interested to partner with them. Okay, certification is such that no serious business is ready to experiment it. So you should have it, and then you demonstrate you have it by sending certified produce samples, etc. Then they believe in you and decide to buy. So that's what I want to say. Anitra.
Yes, thank you, Sheila. So maybe I'm not sure if I understood the question correctly. Could you maybe repeat the question?
All right, let me reformulate it. And she's saying that if they had surety from buyers that they would buy, then the farmers can go and get certification.
Yes.
Certification is costly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think there's some buyers that are solely sourcing organic, yeah, in terms of if products are organically certified, there is definitely a demand for processed fruits or for fresh fruits. But another problem next to the quality and the certification is, of course, also the volumes. So a buyer can only source full container loads, so either 20 foot or 40 foot, and I think the preference is often for 40 foot because it's relatively lower in terms of transaction costs because of the economy of scale, basically of a big one. So to fill a container like that, often one farmer cannot do that. That has to be a group of farmers, and it has to be well organized, etc. So yeah, of course, a group of farmers can be organically certified, but it's up to the buyer, the exporter, basically the local buyer or the collector, to ensure that the group is big enough to have a steady volume. Ideally with more containers in a year. And because what most of the buyers want, of course, is to get along, like also Rosita from Berico, but also other buyers that we know, like Traden Organic or Eosta. They're looking for long-term cooperations. So not a one-time buying of a container, but preferably 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe even 5 or even more, ideally, per year for the next, well, I don't know how many years, as long as the partnership is going well. So it's also really about the volumes, that they are steady, and that also the buyer needs to be sure of before he or she can basically confirm that there is definitely a demand. So you need a very powerful exporter that is working with the farmers, and possibly also providing them extension and offering them a market. But the collector or the exporter has to make sure that the volume suffices for the container, and that it can be done several times a year for a longer term. So I hope that answers the question.
I think so. Betty.
Okay, I'm fine. I'm okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Pon. Otherwise, we go to Collins Hoddy.
Sheila, I just want to thank you very much as a first timer on this program. This is an enlightenment to me, in actual fact. I hope I'll be roped in
in the upcoming ones as well, so that I can be able to have my match made. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Collins. Kojo?
Yeah, I would just want to add to especially what Joshua said about more SMEs coming together to possibly meet orders that because what we keep seeing is usually the minimum quantity they require is above the threshold for many of our local SMEs. So there needs to be a way that we crack that. And I think there also needs to be a way of educating the farmers that we source the raw materials from, that when you want to deal with the international markets, not just about the standards, but also the pricing needs to be sensible. It needs to be more of a volume game than trying to make the margins they put on it cannot be like what they put on it when they are selling it to the local market. And that's a challenge that we see when we do our costing. You know, they are always looking at, okay, if I sell it to the market woman, you know, maybe I'm selling a kilo for like around 15 cedis to the market woman. But if you need to export, maybe your other overheads, you can't buy it from them at 15. You need to buy it lower than that. And then there becomes a disconnect, and then you begin to struggle to get the raw material. So there needs to be some sensitization with the providers, the producers, to ensure quality, but also to be reasonable in pricing, so that we can also be competitive, because we are going against China and other Asian countries that are offering more competitive pricing. So if we want to be players in this field, if we want to have most of the trade partners to be interested to purchase goods from us, we need to be very, very wise with how we price, so that they'll be enticed to look towards our sub-region for produce as compared to what they are already doing, which is mostly sourcing from the Asian countries. So that's my submission. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kojo. And I like what you said, that we need to crack the volume hurdle. I mean, it's volumes. If one person can't do it, then we just have to team up and crack it. Thank you. All right. We have Eugenia Akofa.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
And thank you, Auntie Sheila, for the opportunity. I'm representing AP Oak Limited. For us, we are now entering the industry, the packaging and marketing industries. So we are new to it. And this program has been helpful, especially with regards to the certification. But for us, we are looking forward to enhance partnerships with other organizations, both in the local and international markets. So, Aunt Sheila, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Reynolds, please.
Hello.
Yes, please.
I hope I'm heard. Yes, I'm also grateful for this opportunity. As a matter of fact, I'll have less to say because I'm also new into the business. As it stands, I've not made an export yet, but then looking at things, there's hope for the future. And I'm also grateful for this platform. I think that is what I'll say for now.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Franca Jekuman, that's our last person.
Thank you. I'm also new to the industry. I wanted to gather some information. It's been very, very fruitful. Thank you.
Thank you. NABC, your final words, and then we close.
Thank you, Sheila. Yeah, I want to thank everyone for the inputs and their active participation. Yeah, we're still aware of some of the challenges. Indeed, they were also mentioned, and but I think that even though sometimes there is no not a particular deal being made, like for example with Berico, and the contacts with Vintage and Groital, there is a communication going on, and Rosita knows a lot about food safety and quality. So there is also a communication and a knowledge transfer and exchange going on, which hopefully not within the HortiFresh program, but in the future will help both sides to move on. So sometimes there's no particular deal, but just the interface between Dutch companies and Ghanaian and Ivorian companies, but also amongst Ghanaian and Ivorian companies, like in a meeting like this or in HortiFresh platforms in Accra, like the business platform meetings. I think a lot of exchange is going on, which also helps people moving forward by learning from their peers. So yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of positive stories as well, and I hope that more things will happen also when the program is finalized. And like we said, Laurens and I, if there's anything we can support with, please do not hesitate to contact us or Helen. So I'm not sure, Helen, if you shared your email in the chat already, but please do so. If not, and then we can follow up within the team who can best support you. So thank you very much, and I wish you all the best. And most of the how do you say that, progress with the companies and the objectives and the trade, etc. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Anitra, and that wraps it for today. Thank you all for your time. If you want to get the recording and some of the salient points that we put down, please leave your email address in the chat and we will reach out to you. Also, as you know, HortiFresh is closing, so we'll send you invites for our closure events coming up in the next week or two. So thanks for your time. We are grateful you joined us. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.